So we are getting closer and closer to E3 2021, and we're getting new information from different developers and companies that are holding showcases at this event, and we now have a clear picture of what E3 is going to look like. We also have some new games that are potentially leaking ahead of the event, as we have a Nintendo series that we have not seen in quite some time looking to get a sequel announced sometime soon. And then we also have to talk about Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 and whether or not this is a 2021 or 2022 release, as there have been some new sightings online that suggest that this may be a little bit further off. What's up, Nation? If it's your first time on the channel, make sure you join Sunbro Nation by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. Now guys, today the first thing we're going to cover is the E3 2021 schedule, and it is because we now have the official announcements of really most all of the companies at this point. I think there may be one or two that haven't confirmed their time slot at the time of filming this video, but we are obviously getting very close to the kickoff of this event, as it will be happening on June 12th, and we are June 3rd at the time of filming this video, so we're getting close. So there has been a new publication posted online for a bunch of different updates around companies on when they will be holding their events, so you can see all of the different ones here and when they will be going live. And obviously there will be a bunch of big names to look forward to and exciting games, even Switch games coming from some of these other events that probably won't be held at Nintendo's Directs, or maybe they'll be focused on a little bit more at these other partner events. So there's going to be a lot of media coverage on this thing. I will be covering it all here on the channel, so if you're hyped for E3 2021, make sure you're subscribed and make sure you turn on your notifications so you know when new information drops. But guys, we have a lot of reason to be excited about new Switch games, hopefully new Switch hardware, which I don't think will be announced at the event obviously, but I do think that, we're going to have a lot to talk about in the near future. So good information as far as E3 coming and when all of the different people will be holding their events, and I'm very excited for this one to be right around the corner now. And then the next thing we got to talk about is a very interesting one. It's one that I haven't seen before, and it's Nintendo releasing an official survey. It's actually from them directly, and they're asking fans if they're okay with the price point of $49.99 for a new WarioWare game. And I think it's just them trying to test the waters to see. Obviously there's a lot of talk online on how Nintendo prices their games, and I think what they're trying to do is figure out the right price point for these like 3DS style games, because obviously we saw WarioWare heavily focused on the 3DS, and it did very well there. Well, we used to be looking at a $39.99 price point for those style titles. We just got Miitopia ported over from the 3DS to the Switch, and obviously it's going up in price to $50, but not asking a full $60. So I think they're trying to figure out is, do we need to launch these games at $39.99, or can we get the extra $10 out of them if we were to put some development behind a series like WarioWare? And the fact that they're saying that specific title probably means it's coming, and it's probably coming sooner rather than later, and they're probably in the phases of just getting ready to market this thing and launch it, and they're trying to figure out which price point to price it at to make sure it sells well. So really interesting new tactic from Nintendo. But if you remember recently in one of their investor meetings, they actually did say, a lot of new dollars were being spent in research and development, and that was one of the heaviest, spends for them throughout the entire fiscal year. So I do think that we will continue to see maybe Nintendo branch out and try some new tactics, and this looks to be one of them. So if you're a fan of the WarioWare series, I am personally, I haven't played a ton of hours into them, but I think I will be picking this up if it comes in at $49.99 or under, and if it's, obviously got the gameplay to back it up, which I'm sure they will show us in a trailer sooner rather than later. It'll probably be unveiled at their E3 event, would be my personal prediction around this one. But let me know in the comments down below if you're excited for a new WarioWare, and if you would pay the $49.99 price tag, or if you feel like Nintendo really needs to be pricing these 3DS style games that are coming to the Switch more at the $39.99 price point. And then the last major piece of news we got to talk about today, guys, could be bad news for the hardcore Zelda fans such as myself, but you know what? It might just mean you have to be patient. It's not necessarily bad news, but if you were expecting Breath of the Wild 2 to be released in 2021, and that's what I've been predicting here on the channel up till this point, which a lot of people have told me I'm wrong, there's no way it's happening. Well, that's fair. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I still think there's a shot that it can happen, but there's obviously mounting evidence as we get closer to E3 from different folks online that are saying that this will be a 2022 title. And there was that whole discussion around Pokemon Legends Arceus when that went live or with the release date announcement rather, stating that that would be an end of January title, which was a very surprising one for a lot of fans because it didn't seem that far along when we got the initial trailer, and then here they are releasing it at the end of January, and the whole idea with that and that release actually meaning something for Breath of the Wild 2 is the fact that Nintendo will not want to position these games near each other, so it would make a lot of sense that if Pokemon Legends Arceus was not the March 2022 title, that maybe that's Breath of the Wild 2. So while all of this could still change, we do have a recent tweet from somebody who is extremely involved with Nintendo and who has been there for years and years, and he recently tweeted out after Nintendo announced their E3 Direct plans, he retweeted that and quoted Z222, which does point to, obviously the fans have taken that and means like Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 in 2022 is basically what he's saying there without saying it. Now, whether or not he knows the exact release date, that's all speculation, so we will have to wait for E3 to be sure about this, but this is somebody who would have some knowledge from Nintendo that is actually going out there and saying that this will be a 2022 title. So I think at this point, I'm going to set my expectations for 2022, and then if it doesn't happen, if it happens to be 2021, well, that's great. So I don't doubt Nintendo at the end of the day. I think whatever the timeline is that this game needs to be finished and polished and ready to go is what they're going to give it. So I don't think we have anything to worry about as fans. If it comes out in 2021, it doesn't mean we're getting a rushed project that wasn't ready. It just means that it was ready to go, and I have full faith that Nintendo will give us a quality product either way. But if you were holding out hope to play it by this holiday, this does, of course, kind of point towards the opposite direction. Now, another reason that Nintendo could be doing this, and I've spoken numerous times on the channel about Zelda being a console system seller for new hardware, and as we are expecting a Switch Pro revision to be announced officially soon, I would expect it to line up with that, but you do have to have the conversation about Bloomberg saying that the Switch Pro could be a staggered release and not a worldwide release, and they may want to have plenty of circulation of that console out there before they release something like a Breath of the Wild 2 to really go in and sell that system and have people go pick it up that weren't planning on picking it up or hadn't picked it up already. And if you really are talking about a non-worldwide release and maybe it's only US and Japan that gets it at launch, and then even countries like Europe and Australia, they have to wait, well, that's obviously a big deal, and it would mean that Nintendo is potentially structuring their plans a little bit different based off of, what we would typically see them do as far as launching new hardware alongside a new Zelda game like they have in the past. But this is obviously all up for debate, so at this point in the video, guys, I want to know your personal predictions on what you think Nintendo is planning around Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, and then also let me know if you're hyped about E3 and all the different companies that have announced their time slots, and your thoughts on the new WarioWare game that we are most likely going to see very soon. So make sure you drop a comment down below, share all your thoughts with me, as I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation started with you guys, and then also go over and hop over to the community tab on the channel and cast your vote in the poll today before you leave the video. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out on this video if you enjoyed it today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming news. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.